I'm Dan Galusha and welcome to another edition of Dan's Fishing Tales. Today we're going to be finger jigging for one thing, but what we're going to be using is this right here. It's called a T-Shad. It's put out by Natural Forage Baits, and the bluegill have been hitting pretty good here by the boat ramp. I'm not even worrying about the boat because I'm just going to be casting out here and been getting some crappies too. So we're going to see what happens. I'm not sure. Hopefully they're hitting today. They have been doing pretty good right here. So like I said, I'm right by the boat ramp. We'll make some casts and see what happens. There we go. Imagine this is a bluegill. Yep. Smaller one. Small bluegill. The crappie have been hitting out just a little bit further. A little bit of a spillway over there. Shouldn't say a little bit, actually it's a 2-bay one. There's one. There we go. Another small bluegill. There we go. Oh, actually got a small bass. He was up there with those gills. I'm going to try out just a little bit further. There's a little bit of a weed bed there. I'm going to try out just on the other side of it, see if maybe we can find a crappie. I didn't get quite where I wanted. I haven't been able to hit that spot that I want. Some of the crappie have been right out that way where I just cast. we go. This may be another bass. No, bluegill. Got another female bluegill. I was catching some of the big bulls, but there we go. Now we got one of the nice bulls. There we go. There's a nice one. Yeah, see that? Nice bull blue. What I'm going to do, like I said, we're finger jigging this, but what I want to do is take this and put it on a longer rod. Not this one, because I've already got one rigged. We're going to take a crappie rod. Hang on here. I've got my Plano wrap out here, and this is what I keep my T-Shad in. That's what I'm after, is another T-Shad, because I'll show you how I'm going to rig this. I'm going to go with same color, I think. This is what they call a baby bass. To me, it's kind of like the green shiner, which everybody knows that I'm nuts about. There it is right there. That one right there. I don't know if you can see the coloring or not, but I'm going to rig it. I'm going to show you how I rig it. Here's the small head right here. I take it and I put it on the hook just like that. As it starts to come around the bend, that's where I break the hook out, and it comes right down, and see, it's straight, right with the hook, just like you want it. And what I have done is I've got, I don't know if you can see it here or not, because it's long. I got my long crappie rod. It's a C-Series, Berkeley, and I've got my Mitchell 300 reel on it with some nanofill line, and I've got a float. You see that float? That's a Mr. Crappie weighted float. Well, I'm going to set it for about, I don't know, 4 feet maybe. And I'm going to cast out just a little bit further than what we've been doing out from shore and see if I can get something different like crappie. Now, I'm not putting my kicking bass on there right now because this has already got it in there. Yeah, that's the nice thing about Natural Forage Baits, is that it comes with the kicking bass already in it. If I want to add any more, I'll grab some up there, but right now we're just going to see what happens. Now, the way I fish this with this float is if there's enough of a ripple, which there isn't that much today, I'll use the wave action to actually jig this. As we set right now, I may have to just lift and drop, lift and drop. A lot of times that's what triggers a crappie. We'll just see what happens. Maybe I'll have to go back to the finger jigging outfit. You can also do just like I was doing with the finger jigging, but with the float. And then the float just bobs right along with the finger jigging. Well, I'm getting some activity. There we go. Yeah, they're down that way. Huh, hit another bass. Yep. Another small bass. Mixed in there with those bluegills. You notice that most of my float fish have been coming down that way, and it seems like this one's another small bass. But the shore drops differently down there, and I'm fishing more of a weed line down there than I am up here, because this is a shallow weed line. Yeah, I got another small bass. Okay. But all my float fish have been coming basically from down there, and what we're going to do is, for the heck of it, we're going to, believe it or not, I just had one hit the float. We're going to switch over to the finger jigging one and see if that makes a difference. I had mentioned that I might want to put a little bit more kicking bass on there earlier. Well, this is a good time to do it. What I'm going to do is put some kicking crappie on. As soon as I can find my jig. What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. Laid it under the rod. Pepper thinks he's going to get some. He's not. He's going to get some water, though. It's pretty hot out here. Now, applying kicking bass. No brainer on this one, but you don't need to put the whole bottle. Just put enough that it smells it up good. If the hole isn't plugged. Or, I'll show you another way you can do it with these. I've done this quite a bit. Take the lid off, and then take it. These fit just perfect. The T-Shad fit right in the bottle of kicking bass. You just dip it in, make sure it goes in. I've just about used up all my kicking crappie. There it is. Okay, she's ready to go. And you definitely got it good and covered if you do that. That's just a quick tip for you. There's one. It's gotta be another bass. Yep. Another small bass. There's a bunch of those up that direction. I think there's some bluegills too. There's a bluegill. Yeah, another bull one. Nice, colorful bull. don't want to hurt him. I want you to see the colors. Not as quite as bright as when I first got him out of the water, but not too bad there. And I'm gonna get my pliers. It just caught, it's not caught that bad, it's not deep. It's just one of those spots that, you know what I mean. Because the head's sticking out, and there, come right out once I got the pliers. Good old Leatherman tool. And no, Leatherman is not one of my sponsors. Used to have them. There's one. Another bluegill. Definitely picked up a little bit after adding the kicking bass, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a little bit more kicking bass on there. I'm going to dip it in there again, in fact, just like I did before. Yeah, I'm definitely running out of kicking bass. You can see it's way down there at the bottom of the bottle. That's my kicking crappie. That's one of the good ones I got. Especially for bluegills and crappie. Works for bass too, as you've already seen. Got a few small ones. There's one. Got a small one left though. But still fish. Another one. Yeah, this is another small one. That fish wanted that T-Shad so bad it grabbed it twice while I was trying to take it out of it. And the hook was already out. There's another one. You know, since putting on that kicking bass, the action has picked up. Well, they're very colorful. You don't really want your dogs swimming in these smaller lakes and that like that, or drinking it. There's a thing called farm pond lipto, that's for short, and it will kill your dog. I guarantee you that. I've known some people that have lost their dogs to it. It's not nice. And Pepper has I carry a gallon of water for him, and that's what you want to do. If you got an animal with you, make sure that you got some water for him. And Pepper's re-drinking it up. And while we're up here, you can see that the kicking bass has got to be making a difference, because after putting it on there, I was definitely getting more hits. I'm always getting tangled up, aren't I? Anyway. We're going to dip it again in the bottle, like we did before. Sorry the camera's not in the right position, but we're Wish I had Brad back as a cameraman. Brad Moser's one of the best cameramen he'd ever have. Unfortunately, he's not working at it now. He would be. Somebody'd hire him. And maybe we could get the regular TV series back. Brad and me back together again. Hey, we'll win more awards, hopefully. Well, we're going to give it a shot. Whoever wants to get into the act. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about finger jigging. I've done videos on it before, so I'm not going to go into it that much. But what I do want is, because this has kind of been an illustration of it. One thing, I think I'd be better off going back to the heavier jig head like I used before, but you'll notice that the action picked up just a little bit more, and I did three things. One was I used the kicking bass, of course, or the kicking crappie in this case. And I also, and I notice the body is really getting torn up, I also slowed down. I let the jig drop and let it sit there a little bit longer, and I slowed down and stiffened my finger. I know that sounds weird. Stiffen my finger? Yes, and I'll show you what I mean. I've told this before in the finger jigging videos, but this was a good illustration. Normally, you use your index finger for finger jigging. And you put it about like this, and it comes around, hits it kind of light-like, and puts a lighter jigging action to it. As you slow down, it puts a heavier thump, thump, thump. As you stiffen your finger, it even goes harder, thump, thump, thump. And that's what I did. I stiffened my finger out so that there was a harder thump and with a slower type of an action. And that helps it pick up a lot. I mean, that's for all species that you use this for. So, that's what you want to do with it, and I wanted to bring that up. I've changed things around a little bit. Put a different color of T-Shad on, also a Bee Fishing H2O Precision jig head, and it's a 32nd ounce. So we're going to try that and see how that works. Here's the strange thing. I've had a lot more hits on that different jig head and different color, but fewer takers. Now that sounds a little bit odd, but you can see right there what they've done. Bit the tail right off of it. That was definitely a bluegill. So what we're going to do, I was about ready to quit, and got to do some experimenting here. Just to see if I can get one out. Go back to that color that I told you about right there. That greenish color. Hook that on. And we'll see if that might make a difference. Like I said, there were a lot more hits, but fewer takers. And something that slight can make the difference, so we'll see. Well, as you can see, the T-Shad did catch a few fish. We had to do some maneuvering around and, you know, doing different things. I really think that this larger hook, when I switched back to that with this head, that made even more of a problem, because I was getting a lot of hits here, and they just weren't taken. I was still getting hits, but no takers. And I noticed that this is kind of whacked out of joint too, so that's another thing that can throw it off, because they are so finicky today. They're wanting that perfect, and I was really surprised that the float didn't do any better than it did. But like I said, I have much better luck using that float when there is a chop on the water. If it's still, this in-between stuff is kind of weird, but if it's really still, a lot of times I can get them by just picking up letting the jig fall back down, picking up, letting it fall back down. That's kind of like vertical jigging. And I'll tell you, this little T-Shad, this Natural Forage Bait T-Shad, is a great vertical jigging bait to be using. Like if you're over the top of some suspended crappies, there might be a brush pile down deeper or something or other, and this is just super. I mean, just take your rod over the side of the boat. If I had a boat out here today, I would probably go over to that one area we were where it was so much slop and go along the edge and see what I could do with the longer rod. Maybe take that one I had the float on, take the float off of it, and just drop it right down. So like I said, you can see it really does work. Finger jigging, make sure that you alter your retrieves, your speed, your finger, everything. And that's the way with any fishing, pretty much. Just keep changing until you find what they want. And today was one of those situations that I think they either didn't know what they wanted, or they were constantly switching on something. They are in a spawning mode right now. That's another thing that creates some problems. But there are some decent fish, and didn't get any crappies today though. That surprised me. The small bass, that didn't surprise me that we got some of those, because they're right up on the outer edge of those bluegills. So until next time, get out on the water and have a great day of fishing.